Hi everyone, my name is Chloe Nguyen, and I'm a community media journalist for Regent Park TV. Here at RPTV, we're committed to keeping you up to date on new construction in the Regent Park community. As buildings are readying for occupancy, it's important that we reach out to developers to learn more about these projects. Today, we talked to Toronto Community Housing Senior Construction Manager Robert Boyd to learn more about the new development at 150 Riverstreet. Hi.
Hi, Chloe.
Thanks for meeting with me. So, we've understood that in the past 6 months, this development has been getting ready for occupancy. Where is it located and what's the size of the building?
Uh, the building is located in what is called Phase 3 of the Revitalization of Regent Park. It's on the east side of the downtown core of the city of Toronto. Specifically, it's located at the corner of River and Oak Streets. The Regent Park redevelopment is divided into ultimately 5 phases. And this building is the second last TCHC building in the third phase of the redevelopment. It's a mid-rise, 11 stories tall. It's comprised almost entirely of units for TCHC tenants. There are a few, I think 33 units that are what we call market housing.
Okay. So the majority of the housing is for TCHC residents. I was looking at the TCHC website, and there seems to be some confusion around the differences between rent geared to income and affordable housing. So which one will this be?
So this building is there are 158 units in the building in total. And of those, I just want to make sure I give you the correct number. There are, I think, 33 what we call so there's rent geared to income, or RGI, and then there is affordable housing. Now, RGI means that, so rent geared to income is you pay, no matter what your income is, your gross income before taxes, you pay 30% of your gross income is what you will pay to TCHC in the form of rent. So that means that two people, now there's a threshold to qualify for TCHC housing. So you can't make more than a certain amount of money. So anybody who makes below that threshold can qualify for TCHC housing. But so you could theoretically, or not theoretically, but very realistically, end up with two people living in exactly the same units but paying very different rents because their gross income could be very different. And they pay 30% of whatever that number is. The other units that are affordable housing, there's the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, which is CMHC. They measure rents throughout the city of Toronto, throughout Canada. But so for each city, they determine what is the average rent for, say, a bachelor, a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and so on and so forth. And so TCHC looks at those numbers for the GTA, and if you are for the affordable housing units, you pay 80% of the average rent for the city of Toronto. So, for example, if you're going to if you're renting, let's say, a 1-bedroom, and let's say the average rent, I'll use round numbers here. If the rent in Toronto, the average rent is $1,000 a month, then you would pay $800 a month, which is 80% of 100. And that's the way it's calculated.
Okay, so just to summarize, the rent geared to income units are based on a percentage of your income, and the affordable rental units are based on the fixed average of the cost of the apartment in that city. You mentioned the 33 units that are market housing. Are those affordable rent units?
Yeah, there's 33 affordable rental units, and then the rest are RGI units.
The majority of the units, are they one bedrooms, bachelors?
Hmm. There's a mix. There are even 18 two-story townhomes that ring the base of the building, and then the building goes up 11 stories, and within that there are it's a broad unit mix. So, for example, there's uh, most of them are family oriented, so 2 and 3 bedrooms. There's 37 one bedrooms, and then there's some 3 and 4 bedroom townhomes. There's even a total of, I think, 8 5 bedroom units. So those are really for larger families.
When you were developing the building, did you kind of have a specific demographic in mind? Did you want to target families, or did you kind of want that diverse mix of different family types?
Well, we don't really target uh, things in the same way that a regular condo or apartment renter would target, where they go to the open market and try to sell or rent their buildings. What we have in Regent Park is an existing neighborhood, and it was built originally in the 1950s. To make way for these new buildings, we're tearing down the old buildings. But to do that, we uh, uh, move the families who are living there now, and we put them in housing temporarily while we build the new building. And we make them a legally binding promise that we will move them back into the same, that we will offer them a same size unit, or one that's appropriate to their family size. Because in the meantime, while we're building their family size might change. They might have had more children, or some of the children may have grown up and gone away to university, or moved out of the home for whatever personal reasons. So we have a specific population then that we're matching for these buildings. And now we don't look at it necessarily even just on a building by building basis, but we have to plan this across the entire revitalization of Regent Park. So there's a whole team of people who look at managing the moves of people, and keeping track of what our obligations are to replace households, so that whoever moved out of Regent Park has a right to move back in.
Okay.
So we're not targeting. Our target is to give those people their housing back.
In terms of application, is it correct that the application process is closed?
Yeah, the building actually was completed in mid-December of last year, 2019, and we started moving people in right away.
Okay.
And the COVID put a brief stop to moving people in when the building was about, I think, 80% complete. Occupied. COVID forced us to stop moving people around the city, and so it's just started up again. We've started moving people back in. All of the units are spoken for. So but people who want to get onto try to get into the building have to first get onto the TCHC waiting list for housing. Unfortunately, there's I believe quite a long backlog of people who want to get TCHC housing. Housing is in short supply in Toronto. It's a problem that we obviously play a part in trying to fix. But we have people who are waiting for this housing, and our obligation is to house them first.
Yeah. Yeah, while we're on the topic of COVID, I should ask, have you implemented any extra health and safety measures in terms of sanitation or anything along those lines?
Absolutely. There are high traffic zones that we clean regularly, very often. So you can imagine common laundry rooms, common any common rooms, entry lobbies, doors, elevator push buttons, corridors, places like that get cleaned and disinfected very often. I think it's twice a day. And for a while, we closed the common amenity spaces. So, common lounges and so on were closed to the tenants. As things start to open up now, we're making those available to tenants again.
And what are some of the amenities that this building has? I know you mentioned the lounges. Are there any other features?
Yeah, so the common laundry facilities, is a practical one. There's underground parking for people who have cars because they have to drive to work. They may live in Regent Park but live far away. But work far away. Then there are, this is a family oriented building, and so at the ground level, the building forms a kind of a U shape, upside down U if you look at it, if you from a bird's eye view. And so in that U on the ground floor, there's a large outdoor play space for kids with things to climb on and slides and so on, the kinds of things that you would typically see in parks. It's actually very cool. Even the ground is this green sort of spongy material that they can play on and not worry about falling and scraping their knees and so on. Also on the ground floor, there's a very large communal meeting space. There's a small lounge. There's a large, very bright lobby when you first walk into the building, and it's got a place where people can sit and chat and meet and wait for their Uber driver or whatever. There's a fireplace and a TV that has local announcements. And then on the 8th floor, there is another rooftop amenity space that is outdoors, where it's a kind of a rooftop garden, if you will, where we have raised planters that people can grow vegetables and flowers and so on. And so they sign up for that, and they grow their whatever it is they want to grow, and it's a chance for them also to meet and get to know each other, and it helps to build community within the building. It's very difficult to build a sense of community among neighbors inside these types of buildings, and so these communal spaces are really, really important for that. You can imagine that parents that bring their kids to play in that play space, will sit on the benches while their kids play, and they'll get to know each other as parents, and hopefully become friends and form those communal bonds that are so important for this entire revitalization to be successful.
Would you say this is unique to this building, or have you kind of seen this in other buildings as well?
Well, it's something that we do in all of the TCHC buildings, and the Daniels Corporation is our development partner. And so while in Regent Park, TCHC is building social housing, Daniels is building what we call commercial housing, which is to say condominiums and apartments that are sold and rented on the open market. And so there's a mix that way. There's more of a mix of incomes and social sort of strata, in Regent Park, whereas before it was all very homogeneous. This way it'll be much more mixed, socially and economically, and ethnically, and so on and so forth. And in the Daniels buildings as well, they do include internal amenity spaces and external amenity spaces too. The truth is that those you'll find many of those spaces in any new condo building in the city of Toronto, because they're dictated by the city. You have to include them in your building. Different developers will take different approaches to what they include in those amenity spaces. Um, Whereas most many building developers use those to attract buyers to the building. In Regent Park, Daniels and TCHC take the approach that these rooms are vital to creating that community sense. So it's not just about attracting people; it's about creating a strong Regent Park community.
Right, yeah, as you were saying, it's so integral to have these shared spaces that bring together people of different incomes or different classes or backgrounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
This development at 150 Riverstreet, is this the only building you've been working on recently, or do you have other projects in the Regent Park community?
In uh, in January of 2019, we moved people into a building just about a block south of 150 River Street. The address of that one was 110 Oak Street, and it's the tallest TCHC building in Regent Park. If I recall correctly, it's 19 stories. The we just finished moving people into that one. We're at the end of September or the beginning of October, we'll start excavating for a new building on the block immediately west of 150 River, of this building. So, and that will be the last TCHC building in phase 3, and then we'll go on to to rebuild and redevelop phases 4 and 5. So it's an ongoing, constant process. It never stops. Construction in one building overlaps construction with another. We're trying to get it all done as quickly as we can.
So I know you're speaking about the 5-phase project. Is there kind of an end goal, or just to provide housing for everyone and integrating the Regent Park community?
Yeah, well, the end goal, like I said, is to house everybody that gets displaced. So at the end of the revitalization of Regent Park, all of the existing buildings will have been torn down, and all of the tenants that were living in those buildings will have a new place inside one of the new buildings in Regent Park. Unless, of course, they always have the option of declining, moving back if they don't want to. But the truth is, it's actually really heartening to see is there already has been for a long time a really strong sense of community in Regent Park, and people have lived there and stayed there for multiple generations. I met one family where the first member of that family now has grandkids living in Regent Park, so they've stayed there for a long time, and it's really heartening to see, I have to say. Our goal then is to keep them there, or at least offer them a place to stay there that hopefully they accept, and give them some really great housing with great facilities. There's the revitalization of Regent Park includes also some great park space. There's a almost brand new, fantastic swimming pool, aquatic facility. There's a regular farmers market that happens. There's community gardens. So there's a lot of overall community facilities, not just the ones that are inside the building specifically.
Well, I think we've just about covered it. Definitely looking forward to seeing how this, I know that COVID has put a damper on everyone's plans, but I'm glad to see that people are being moved in now. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
Though the pandemic has caused delays, Toronto Community Housing is moving forward and getting applicants moved in as soon as possible. We look forward to seeing 150 Riverstreet and TCHC's upcoming projects. For Regent Park TV, I'm Chloe Nguyen. Thanks for watching.
Please do not forget to like, comment, and share to our channel. Follow us on all our social media platforms. And for more information, please check out our website.